Good evening, wonderful people. It is Thursday. Yeah,
Yeah.
one more day. I had to think. Thursday, May 19th, 2022. And we're so excited about this. Of course, welcome to the Keeping It Real Conversations show with your host, Camila, aka Sunshine. I believe in 6 degrees of separation. You're one person away, one advice away, one help away, or where you need to be in your destiny. If you have not subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do so. It is the name of the show. We are live on my Facebook page, which I am going to get into right now, so you guys can jump on. Also, we are live on Spotify. We're live on the YouTube channel. We're live on Twitch, Twitter, and it's one more thing, but I can't think of it right now. But however, find your way, however you must, to connect with us and join in the conversation. Again, I'm excited for this wonderful guest. It has been a minute that we have tried to connect. But however, we are here today. And I let people know exactly how I met this person. Technically, we have never met in person yet, but eventually we will, like all the other guests that are out of town. I will eventually meet them as well. So I'm going to get into her bio real quick so we can get this time in to actually conversate with her. So, Miss Alexandra.
Hit me.
Denis, right?
Denis, yes.
Denis. We're gonna go over her bio for her company that I'm excited for. I love all natural things. And when I seen it, when I got the information about her, I said again, I'm all about connecting. I'm all about supporting. I'm all about making sure people have a platform to put their products out, especially when they're homemade. I mean, come on now. All our businesses is great and fabulous because of course word of mouth. Of course, if your product is what it is, again, we're all gonna support that. So again, we're all about that. And she's a black woman. Come on now. What are we doing here? That's a given. So her company is a luxury, all natural skin, hair, beard, and home essentials company based in Brooklyn, New York. Our product line includes body oils, hair oil, body butter, CBD oil, body oil that is, beard balm, beard oil, and soy wax candles. The brand, since been started in 2018, has been recognized or has recognition in publications such as Cosmo Magazine, Sheen Magazine, Compulsive Magazine. Come on, Miss Cookie. An African American Golfers Digest. The company in January 2021 moved to their first office space. Is that Guanamas?
Gowanus.
Okay, in Brooklyn.
In Brooklyn. There's two, I think. There's one in the Bronx and I'm in the one in Brooklyn.
So again, this evening, I want you guys to welcome to our platform, Alexzandra Denis. I'm so excited, honey. How are you this evening?
So far, so good. I've been really excited about this all week. So,
well, I'm excited that you're excited. Come on
now.
So, we have again, I am so elated to have you here to sit back and talk with me in your space, in my space, to come together and have this wonderful conversation about your product, about you, the all around person. I don't just get into the conversation of how we actually have the conversation about, but I'm just interested in the whole. Like, who are you? So again, as always on our show, I'll let you know how I know the person. So again, I already told you I've never met her in person for real, for real. But again, this is one of our persons that Miss Cookie, Dr. Cookie Humphrey, from the owner and the baddest woman who owns her own company, her own magazine, Compulsive Magazine, told me about her months ago. Like, listen, I got a list of people that you need to talk to. And this woman right here was on the list. However, we all say, timing is everything. We all thought maybe it was a mistake, maybe, but the timing right now is what God intended. So
Exactly.
tonight, again, I welcome you to our platform.
I love it. Cookie is so near and dear to my heart. I've learned so many lessons just having conversations with her. And I admire her so much for what she's built. So when Cookie says to do something, I'm like, no problem. Don't even question it. You know, it's good for you. It's good for your brand. It's good for your community. And she's just someone that I hold in the highest of the high standards. Like I love her.
So I have adopted her as auntie, and I have not met her yet, but of course I've had her on the show. I have some of her people that were actually featured in her magazine as well as the front page of her magazine on the show. So again, um, possibly I might be on a summer in her magazine. So
I can't wait.
I'm praying for that front cover though. But however,
That's what I'm
being
saying.
in it is just as good. So again, I'm grateful for the connections. Again, this is just the 6 degrees of separation. Again, being in works with main events, being with her, and all the connections and all that stuff. So I have plenty of people when I come that way that I have to meet in person because I met some wonderful people on the show. So
It's
let's
so
get
funny.
into, you have this wonderful product. And what was it that made you get into this? Was this something that you saw as a child? Growing up with, like some people as growing up and teenagers, we have acne issues. We have all these different things that's going on with our skin. Was that something that was like, look, when I get to this place, I got to do something on my own?
I wish my journey was definitely a lot more complicated.
Mm-hmm.
And I never really wanted to be an entrepreneur. My sister was actually my little sister. We're only 5 years apart. She was the one in the family who was an entrepreneur. And I was like, corporate's for me. I love corporate. I love steady paychecks. I love health insurance. I love 401k. I don't want to do this. And she kept saying, you have to do your own, get your own business, start your own business. And I was like, no, thanks. And this was in 2018. And I was like, no, before 2018, actually. And I was like, no, thank you. My mom is from St. Vincent. And so she was very big on, and that's where she grew up. So she was very big on keeping a lot of the products that were back home, using it on us as generation children here. So we used body butter, Jamaican castor oil. My sister and me, when we played on the ground and we had like dark knees, she'd like cut a lemon and put it on your knees. Your young ladies, you have to have like clean skin. She would sugar scrub us, bath salts for my sister because she played sports. So my mom was very much, she knew like all the natural remedies to solve a lot of problems. And I always took it for granted because all the other kids and adults were wearing like Bath and Body and they were perfumed. And I'm like, I want to smell like something. I'm tired of
Right.
smelling like shea butter all the time. And then when I got my first paycheck, I went out and I bought like, they had a sale and I got all these like lotions and other stuff. And I'm like so proud of myself. And then a couple weeks later, I was like, my skin looks not the way it usually does. And it takes you like a little minute to realize like, oh, this is not the same. So I ended up going back to my mom's body butter, shea butter. And eventually I found my way into the fashion industry. I worked in corporate fashion for Calvin Klein and Perry Ellis, Jones of New York. And they were very much about luxury. And in those circles, there were not a lot of people that looked like me. And so it was the first time I've ever been introduced into the luxury industry. Like affordable luxury in a way, because sometimes Calvin has a $500 shirt, but they can also have a $50 shirt. And I was just like, wow, this is nice. And I was like, my community doesn't really have anything like that. Like we have like, $2.99, $3.99, $10.99, but we don't have anything that's like in a glass bottle, beautifully marketed, like glass, like extra, like scented
Yeah.
with essential oil, grown in sexy scents. And I was like, you grown, you need to make, I was like, just make something. I was like, what's the worst thing that can happen? So I used my corporate paycheck at the time to start up Avala. And it literally was like in a dream and it happened overnight. So I started thinking about it like the beginning of February. And then by March, I incorporated. And then I was just like, I already knew, like I went to sleep and I woke up and I was like, I want frosted glass. I want black and white packaging. I want people like when we buy it, we can give it to anybody. I don't want it to look too much like orange and green but I want it to look like you can give it to your boss and you're still supporting me. And it looks nice in everybody's bathroom. I don't want it to be like, oh, I gotta hide that from my guests because it doesn't match with the sink and all that. You know what I mean? I wanted it to be something really simple. I wanted the product to be what people would focus on, not so much of the packaging. And so I was very intentional when developing the brand. And then all of a sudden it kind of just took off on its own. And I found out like my first set of like hardcore customers were people who were in remission from cancer, because at the time there were not a lot of there were all natural products, but there were not a lot packaged like mine. So a lot of people were like, oh, I love this. And, you know, I don't know how I got cancer, but now I'm extra cautious about what I eat, what I put on my skin, what I do to my hair. And so I was very blessed for that to be like one of the first sets to like really support and understand what I was trying to do for my community and with the brand. And then the brand just keeps on growing. I started with only 4 products, 4 cents, and now I have like 84 products and 6 cents. And I think I might have a little bit more. I stopped counting after a while.
Wow. So with dealing with people who have sensitive skin, what was something that you wanted to bring to the table that was different from another company?
Just the feelings I want people to have when they purchase and use my products. It's not so much of, oh, I'm ashy, I want to put lotion on. It's like, oh, I'm ashy, but I want to feel like it's a Joe Malone product. I want to feel like, oh, this is my special butter. And even if you do wear it every day, I want you to go outside and like, oh yeah, I'm wearing a Vala. Like, you know, I want it to be like a whole luxury experience for the customer. And to me, I'm like, if I use my own products and I don't feel like, oh, okay, I feel nice. I feel ready to go on a date. I feel ready to go for a job interview. I feel like I can go to my family's house for the holidays. I can take it on vacation. If I'm not feeling excitement, if I'm not feeling beautiful just off the fact my skin is soft, my hair is moisturized, then I feel like I haven't done my job. It's not just so much of, oh yeah, I moisturize. It's I moisturize, I smell good, it lasts for a while. Like I can give this, a lot of people give. They buy it for themselves. And then like my mom has to try this. She's in Texas. This person has to try this. They're in Florida. And I see like your making me ship it from here to somewhere else. So that to me, I want to be the difference. And then I always make sure that every single product that I ever create has a purpose. So there's nothing that's just created just to be created. The body butter is good for eczema and psoriasis. The daily hair oil is good for thickening. The beard oil is good for growth. It also gives you like a layer between greasy food and your skin, so your skin won't break out as much. We have shower steamers. They all have menthol in them. They're good for your sinuses, your nasal passages, and your allergies. So I really don't do anything to waste anybody's time. Like I try my best to make my products very effective, with purpose, and they have to smell great, because I know those are some of the first things that draw people in, like the emotion that they feel and the scent of the products.
So to a person, um, right now with this season, my sinuses is ridiculous. Okay, ridiculous. And with sinus issues, and I'm very sensitive to smell. So my issue was I don't really wear perfume or a lot of it because my sinuses, um, allergies.
Mm-hmm.
I went messed around. True story. Messed around and went in the mall. I don't do malls. So I went in the mall and I went through the perfume aisle with makeup and all of that stuff. By the time I got out and got in the away from, I want to say it was like, yeah, it was the perfume area,
That'll do it.
which was next to Bed Bath and Beyond.
Oh, a double whammy?
Listen, yes, my face broke out in hives, and I literally almost couldn't breathe. Like that was another reason why I don't do malls. But however, I can't do a lot of the scented things like that. So for a person that would love to really be in that type of feel the shea butter, the different lavenders and things of that nature, but because I can't deal with the smells, what do you have or what type of product do you have in mind for a person like me?
So we have everything from, so I try to do everything in two scents. So we have two citrus scents, two floral scents, and then two like earthy scents. The earthy scents are very mild. The classic is a sandalwood, bergamot, and vanilla, and not vanilla in the sense that people think it is. They automatically think really, really sweet. It's not like that at all. If
Mhm.
I don't tell you it's vanilla, a lot of people don't guess that that's what's in it. You really feel the sandalwood a lot more. And then they're all lightly scented. So when I created it, it wasn't, my mom always wore perfume to work. So when I created the products, it wasn't so much I needed it to be like a really powerful scent. I needed it to be like a mild scent for someone like me who doesn't really wear perfume, but I need it to last all day. But I also wanted it to be layered. So if you have a favorite perfume, I would never want you to say, I can't wear my perfume because I'm wearing my skincare. So you can pick the scent that you want to match back. So my sister likes, I have a white rose, lavender, jasmine. She likes that one. I tried to create something for everyone. It's not my favorite, but there are people who love rose. I prefer the sandalwood or the lemongrass. And that was what I wanted for Avala. I think in 4 years, I've only had two people say that they don't like any of the scents. Like, I don't know, maybe usually people find one scent that they like and they stick to it. And then I also try to double up. So, like, there's two citruses. So if you buy everything in one of the citrus scents and you're like, okay, what else can I get? You can try the next citrus scent. And I try really hard to make it so people can feel like, oh, I don't have to put on a perfume, but if I want to, I can. Because that's how I feel. Or if you're running out the house, it's like, oh, I forgot to put on perfume, but you're still like lightly scented. And I get a lot of compliments about that. Like, oh, it smells all day, but it's not too strong. You don't get that elevator feeling. You're in the elevator, you walk out and you walk in and you're like, who was in here?
Yes.
No, the whole perfume counter. Yeah, that was every time I walk past the Bath and Body, I'm like, no, pomegranate mint lemonade is not the way to do it.
I got you. So, with the name of your company, how did you come up with that name?
So I definitely believe in everything happening for a reason. And because I was in fashion, when my sister I told you was saying, like, you need to start a company, to me, it was just the natural progression that it would be a clothing brand. And I was like, well, what do I want to see? And I was like, I want to see African prints, but in corporate attire. And so it would be like a blazer with like a hidden African print on the inside. But I don't sew. I was actually very blessed to get into the fashion industry without having to go to fashion school. And so I had to hire people to do that stuff. And I said to my sister, like, hey, if we're taking prints from Africa, we need to name the company after something that encompasses the brand. And I was like, well, we're using only all natural fabrics. We use cotton and silks. And I was like, okay, so let's look up all natural in, any African dialect and see if there's another. Then there's the research behind it, seeing if there's any other company that's already named it and all that stuff. And we came across Avala. And I was like, oh yeah, let's name the clothing line, Avala, and we'll just, keep it moving. And I bought the domain. I think I worked on the brand for like 6 months before financially it was just a huge undertaking because I had to hire pattern makers, seamstress, and I was like, this is a lot. I can't do this anymore. So I'm going to put a pin in it. And that was in 2015. 3 years later, when I started the skincare line, I was like, wait a second, you still have the domain for avala.com and you're making all natural, you're still in the all natural realm. So you're going from all natural clothes to all natural skincare. And I was like, name it Avala. And it was so funny because I had it for so many years prior to actually creating the line. And I always tell people, like, everything happens for a reason. I was sitting there looking at the clothing website, like, man, you're never going to use that. You're never going to you wasted money buying that domain. You don't know what to do with it. It's empty. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh, I already have it. I'm going to use that. And now it's like so unique of a name. It means something. And the story itself is like, oh, that's so cool that you just had it sitting around and pulled it out.
Well, again, when we think about, we said it earlier, timing is everything. And at that moment, who would have known that, oh, the clothing thing didn't work. Oh, shut down shop. It's a wrap. It's done. It's over with. You're already paying for a domain that you wasn't even using. Then all of a sudden, okay, let's pivot, change course.
And
But yeah, we're still using what the name meant. So again, I'm so proud and so adamant about the connections, helping people support something that I would believe in, I have trusted in, or whatever the case may be. Again, skincare when it comes to all of our different shades that we come in, it's like, okay, you have to find what's best for you and your skin, whether it's for the males. And I'm glad you did that for guys too. That is not just one sided, which sometimes companies do when it comes to beauty products. It's
right.
not, or hair products. It's not just women out here that have hair or skin.
Mm-hmm. I hope not.
We're
I'm
gonna
like,
have some
who
aliens
y'all
out
listening?
here.
Who y'all
Exactly.
listening?
So I'm
Right,
glad
it's
that you.
inclusive.
So what was the idea behind having the beard oil and the beard care for the guys?
So the one thing that keeps growing of all of why we have so many products now is I actually listen to my customers. And
Mm.
if several customers mention something to me at the same time, I'm like, maybe you should look into that. At first, like I said, I started out with like 4 cents, and or I was just like, oh, okay, this is good. And not to say I picked it specifically for women, but I was still nervous about starting the brand. And I was like, let's just do 4 cents, and then we'll do 4 cents, 4 products. I started doing pop-ups. So I did a lot of pop-ups when pop-ups first started, and men would come to the table with their wives, their girlfriends, their sisters, and they're like, so what you got for me? And I was just like, you want something? What do you want? Because I don't, my uncle's ashy. Like, what do you
Right,
want?
right.
Like, he's like, what? I can't just put Vaseline everywhere and call it a day. So I was like, well, I'll just do the same exact products, but in 2 scents that are geared towards men. And when you said pivot, my scent, the sandalwood bergamot and vanilla scent, used to be called Classic Man. So about for a good 6-7 months, that was one of my men's scents. And when I went to pop-ups, women would smell it and be like, oh, I love this scent, but I'm not buying anything that says man on it. And I was like, oh, and one person said it. I'm like, whatever, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm like, you're missing out on customers because they don't want in their medicine cabinet for a man to
To
come
say a
over and
man.
open it and be like, why you have something in here for men? So I ended up dropping man, and now it's just called classic. And so I pivoted because I was like, if you're telling me this is going to be the unisex scent of the company, then perfect, drop it. And the more that men, I always listen to my customers. So men started wearing a lot more beards and like, oh, we want beard oil and beard balm that's all natural. And I was like, no problem, I got this. Like, my mom raised me on growing my hair, taking moisturizing my hair. Let me figure out what the differences are between the hair on your head and the hair on your face, because I would know it has to be different. And then I was making bath salt first, and then people were like, oh, but we're in Brooklyn, we don't have bathtubs. Like, new developments don't really have bathtubs these days. And I was like, oh, but we want sugar scrub. So I was like, okay, cool, I can make a sugar scrub. So I started making a sugar scrub. But then when I went to Jersey and other places, they were like, we have bathtubs. We don't know about Brooklyn, but we have them. And I'm like, so I guess I'm keeping the salt. And then it just keeps growing and growing and growing. And I just let it. I listened. The shower steamers were actually one of the things that was just for me, because I get nasal issues. My sister has asthma. My best friend has serious all year round allergies. And I was like, I'm tired of Vicks. Vicks smells. It makes me feel sticky. And I was like, how can I get around that? And so I ended up creating the shower steamers. So everything that I've ever created has a purpose and has a story. And I try to be as inclusive as possible. And so when men were like, they wanted a product, I was like, sure, I don't mind. It's not that I was trying to exclude you. I was just too scared to create something too big and I couldn't control it. But now it's like they're just included. I don't, I want everyone to be able to find something they like in the company.
That is awesome. This is why it's very important to any business to not only have ultimate the best customer service, but a part of customer service is listening to your clients, the ones that support you or keep coming back. It's because you're listening. And so that is an awesome tip for all those who have businesses to listen to your clients. And they will steer you. They won't steer you wrong, because there's an opportunity, there's an idea, that has opened up that you might not have thought of. Um, Again, you might have shut it down in Brooklyn, but then you go to Jersey or you go overseas, and they like, I want all of it. And so, again, we thank our customers, our clients, our people who are supporting us, who actually listen to us and give us feedback and keep on pivoting, to keep getting them dollars.
That's what I'm
So
saying.
again, I'm excited about that. So I'm definitely going to probably have to get into the shower steamers for sure, because I do have horrible sinus issues. Um, yeah.
I'll send
So
you.
we
I'll
got to
send
get
you
that.
one each cent.
Yeah, we got to get that together. Um, so we know how the name came about. We know that it is a unisex business, basically. So how did you actually get into? Now, this is my idea. It's just me.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to the romantic scene, right? You want the whole ambiance, the whole body glistening and all them great stuff. And then, you have the candles, you have the flowers, you have all of this, you have the right scent that's, romantic and soft to each other's heart.
Mm-hmm.
So for you, how did you get into candles?
So candles was the one thing I was not raised with. My mom was a big incense and burnt oil kind of person. Whatever
Right.
oil they have on Flatbush, that's what we burned in our house. The candles, though, for me, it was the light of the candle. Like incense takes a short period of time to burn out and then you're done. And it's also not, I love incense, but it's also not always the sexiest sense. And I was like, you know what? I want to do a candle. And this is before the big candle boom. It was just like, if I'm in a bathroom, I mean, my whole vision was based on the customer's experience. So it's like if I'm in a bathroom and I'm doing my bath salts, I'm gonna body butter after I'm washing, I'm drinking a glass of wine. Like, what else would I want besides music to create an ambiance? And I was like, I guess I would have a candle. And I said, all right, well, that makes sense because now you can do a full kit for people when they want Valentine's Day, Christmas. You just like, oh, your favorite scent is the lemongrass one. Here's a whole kit of lemongrass. And so I started trying to make candles. And that was probably one of the hardest things for me to make because there's so many different, you can go online and follow these people's instructions and everything. But I was just like, this isn't working. This isn't strong enough of a scent. This isn't unique enough because I always try to remember to stay unique brand wise. And so eventually I figured out, I was like, I didn't listen to anybody. And I figured out my own little formula for making my candles. And then I was making small ones. Let me see if I can find one. Wait. I was making these little candles. And I did a customer survey to like 400 customers, my first and actually my only survey, about 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago. And I said, what would you want to change about the brand? And people were like, we want bigger candles. And I was just like, bigger. I was like, bigger means more money, right? And I mean, for me, my candle expenses top at like $28. I was like, okay, bigger, fine, no problem. So I started making these gigantic ones. There's a whole pound of wax in here. But then I was like, these look so plain around the side. And then I said, let's make it so that even when it's not lit, it still looks beautiful. So I started designing them with, these are dried herbs around the side. So this one's a pink rose, yellow rose. I'll do lavender, jasmine, sage, like whatever. But I'm always trying to stay like current. I always try to stay unique. And I always keep trying to learn. So even with the candles, it's like, I wanted it to be all natural candles because I have gotten headaches from candles that have cotton wicks. They do the soot. I hate the black soot coming up the wall. I hate it when they're not lit, they look ugly. I hate when it's not soy wax and I get a headache, or if it's artificial scents, I get a headache. So they're all like all natural, and then they make amazing gifts. So people love to give them as a gift usually. And then during the pandemic, it was a boom in candle sales. And I was just like, this is actually a skincare company that sells candles, not a candle company that sells skincare. Like but you pivot.
Yes.
I'm like, if you want
You
candles, I will give
change
you
with
candles.
like you said, staying current. What we did 2 months ago is now over. What we did last year is no more. So again, speaking of the pandemic, um, I'm sure because your company was done in 2015, correct?
2018.
So
We
with
got
that
the name.
being
We got the
said,
name in 2015. Yeah,
okay. So with that being said, with the pandemic, um, business took to a whole nother level, right?
it did. It really did. The pandemic was, and I don't take this for granted. It was a really big blessing for me, just because a lot of doing outdoor pop-ups, people were still trying to find some sort of socialization. And so even though we had masks on, we were still like outside in the air, but groups of people kind of getting together and shopping. And because like Target closed, malls closed, Amazon had long ship times, we were able to sell like, oh, I ran out of body wash, let me get two of those. Oh, I ran out of, I can't find any lotion right now, let me get that. And we made it easy. And I try to pick where I do pop-ups to be in more residential areas, because you buy your body butter, you take it home, not you're out going to the club and it's like, oh, I'll grab a body butter. So during the pandemic, I was very blessed to be able to um, use what was happening with people, including myself, I mean, my family and my friends, and still keep the business going and to draw in more customers. And then also what I really loved, I started offering, I would do handwritten notes. So like a lot of people were shipping, like my grandfather had surgery. He doesn't want to be in a hospital. I want to send him CBD body oil. Could you write a note for him? And so I would say, just tell me what you want me to write. And I would handwrite the notes for them, like get well soon, wish you the best, I miss you, and send it out to people. Because, in New York, everybody's not really, a lot of people aren't really from New York. And so they were trying to send it back to Ohio and Chicago and where Detroit and where California was a big one, because you can't get on a flight, but you wanted people to know that you love them. And so I was trying to make it as personable as possible and as loving as possible. So, even though you guys weren't together, I was trying to make it so that Avala could kind of like, oh, you thought about me, you cared about me, and keep it going. So I try to make everything extra special for people. I even
That's
had two
right.
people break up with people with my products. I was like, Lord, not a breakup with my products. Not I'm writing a breakup note for somebody else. I was just like, this poor guy's gonna hate my brands. I'm so sorry, sir.
So somebody was like, I want to send him some beer or a good riddance.
She was nice. She sent like 5 items. She definitely was very nice. But then I have them writing and it's like, I prayed on it and God said we shouldn't be together. And I was just like, I was like, this poor guy. So I actually threw in an extra product. I'm like, I'm so sorry.
And she did
I
this
felt
to
like
you,
writing a
but
second card. Like, we feel bad
wow.
for you out of olive.
That was not me. I'm just doing what she asked me to. That's funny. That is seriously funny. Um, so am I asking, and I don't do interviews, so within our conversation, I always ask about the whole person. So, with that being said, as the daughter, as the sister, um, what are you like? What do you like doing? What do you do for your pastime?
So this year, actually, I've been going back more to who I am as a person. The first 2 years of Avala, I worked in corporate. And so I basically was just work 2 jobs full time all year round for 2 years. The third year was a pandemic. And then I was still building the brand and growing. And then this is the fourth year. And so this year I was like, let's take time to actually learn, learn more about who I am, where I want to go, where I see the brand going, where do I want my personal life to go, and how to develop my brand so that I can have a personal life. So it's like, okay, you want to be a mom, that's cute. How are you going to do it and do everything? And then making smarter decisions to be happy. Because I think I was so caught up in building my brand that I was so happy building it, but I just lost out on, I didn't read books for a while. I wouldn't go out to like comedy shows, which I love doing. If I went out, it was like literally, like, even right before this, my best friend and I talked, and I'm like, hey, you want to go get a drink tonight? Okay, cool. All right, cool. It's always like last minute. It's like, okay, have I cleared enough off my plate that I can go do something fun? But now I have nothing planned. So I'm trying to go back to travel. I traveled a lot prior to starting Avala, because then all my money went into Avala. So less money for flights and bites, because I used to like to go out and hang out. But I'm getting back into, the dating world. I'm getting back into figuring out who I am, what I like. I took on a fellowship, so it's like I get to be around like-minded individuals and hear from their experiences and grow that way. And then there's so many, like, now that things are getting a little bit more normal, there's so many activities going on that I'm like, I want to go to that comedy show. I want to go and help out that charity. I want to do this, that, and the third. And then my auntie. So my nephew is like the most amazing kid in the world to me. Super blessed to live with him and watch him grow. And he just turned 4. And so I took him to Chuck E. Cheese the other day, and I was like, oh, this is fun. Like, and making time to be an auntie for a bit. And then even just to be a sister, like, hey sis, let's go hang out. Let's go get a drink. Let's go dancing. Let's go to not a club, but like a social club. And like, she's not the club type. Let's go do something fun. And then also learning more about my own business. So now it's like, as a Black owned business, when I started, I was the only person I knew that was an entrepreneur. And so I made so many mistakes because I was in the group of people that I had, the first one to go down that path. And now I know so many more. And now I've learned, there's the way where it's like I'm selling stuff by myself locally, but then there's certifications you can get to be in the beauty world. There are different awards you can get. There are different magazines and publications you can be in. And and now there's so many social media options. So figuring that out. So a lot of it is just me learning, I feel like right now, learning how to like get back in there and figure out who I am now, because the person I was before Avala is definitely not the person that I am now. I've had to make some tweaks. Still the same heart, still the same brain, but some tweaks. And so
And
this is my late year
pivoting
learn.
is pivoting is my new word.
I
Um
love that word.
it's I've actually gotten it from, it's a podcast show called The Pivot. And they're me, but they're dudes. And they're former athletes talking to former athletes. And I thought how it's 3 guys who 3 different personalities. You got the brain, you got the one that's um as they call them nasty, then you have the one that's in between the both of them. And it's like, okay, I get it. Sometimes we have this plan in life, um and you get a pivot, you get a chance to pivot, and life changes, and you go with the flow. Sometimes, we gotta get the bumps and bruises. Sometimes you gotta be in a season where you are, I'm not saying lonely, but sometimes you have to be by yourself in order to deliver this baby. Now that the baby is here, now you gotta pivot again, while it's growing. Because what you did as your conception, you can't do the same thing while your baby is turning 1. It's not gonna work.
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
And it's not healthy
um,
for you either. It's healthy to evolve and to change and to learn and to grow. And I think if you don't, I'm a very like, I was in product development and fashion. So I'm very much a problem solver. And this is the path that we have to take because these are the rules and this is how to get done. And then having Avala, now I'm like, I don't even care. Like, is it gonna get done? Like, how can we maneuver? How could like change the container? Like during the pandemic, there was a glass shortage. Just like change the container. We're not doing frosted anymore. We're gonna do plain. Like without having this, but I wanted it to be frosted. Like it's just like let things happen, learn to deal with them, overcome them, learn from them, grow from them. But you got to keep going.
yeah, absolutely. Again, the maturity of it all is everything changes with time. It gets better with time. Because
Agreed.
again, through the hiccups and the up all night and not being able to sleep and no social life because hey, I'm on a journey here. I want to see it through, and sometimes we got to take that pivot moment of Wusan, chill out, chill, breathe, go get a drink, go dabble in your own products, take a bath, create the ambiance that now that I'm relaxed and I'm chill, now ideas can flow with no hindrance or us, like taking control. Nothing else can get in. It's this way or it's not gonna happen at all. And God be like, listen, I'm about to blow this thing all the way up.
Yeah, because the unexpected is I think sometimes the unexpected could be the scariest part of life, but the unexpected can end up bringing you the most joy. Had I not started up, I started Aval and I was very fearful because, like I said, I didn't know anybody who was doing it. I did not have any guidance. Google was my teacher. How do I do an LLC? How much is an LLC? Why do I need an EIN? How do I get one? How much is it? Like, Google was my teacher for that. And it was very scary starting something. And I didn't have a parent, a friend that I can go. My sister had her own business, but it was a service business. So she didn't understand like making products, how to do inventory. I still sometimes don't always do the perfect job of inventory, but it's looking at that fear and saying, well, could you get something better on the other end of that? And 2 years later, staying in the fashion industry, I was like, I hate it here. I thought I was gonna spend my whole rest of my life here. I was trying to negotiate in my head how I can do fashion and Avala. And here I am, I'm like, I hate this. I hate this place. And then being able to do Avala full time, it's like, oh, I love this. I put in so many more hours here. But there's never a time where I'm like, you wasted that day, you wasted that moment. And I've met so many amazing people. If I can tell you the amount of amazing people that I have met through Avala, just off of being Alexzandra Denis, like not even trying to be like somebody that I'm not, and meeting and connecting with amazing people. Like, don't let fear like stop what could be something that's amazing for you.
So I was doing this is just a nugget for you. So I was doing research for my book that's coming out soon. So it's called, yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
God's Design, getting back to the blueprint, right? Do you know how many times fear was actually mentioned in the Bible?
No.
365. So my
Wow.
point is fear
Uh,
as the days of the year
that's
is
what I
the
was about
same.
to say. I'm like, so one fear a day?
So what does that mean? What does that look like? I'm like, dang, so every day of your life, it's a possibility that you have to deal with this word. And so at the same time, here comes the other flip side of fear is you got hope and you got faith, which supersedes that because that's like God didn't give us fear. That's the enemy to keep you bound from doing what he called you to do. So I'm like, this is really tasting good to me because now that I understand that the enemy, every day that you are alive and breathing, that's his tactic to give you fear. So
And living
you
God's
can't do
purpose.
what he called you to do. If you continue to be in fear, you will still been bound and chained to this fashion world where we thought we would live, breathe, do all of this stuff until God showed you something different. And look at you now.
Yeah. And I'm like, this was not, I love, you should always plan, but always say like leave space for another plan to slide in there and knock that one down. Cause growing up, it was like, oh, you'll be married by 24, kids by 26, this and this. And there's always this plan. And then it's like, okay, so you just totally like broke the entire plan your family had for you. But you're happy, I'm able to help I could never think when I was in fashion, well, how can I help my community? How can I help people figure out their passions and dreams? How can I do my passion and dream? Like, how can I incorporate all these things that I want to do in the short lifespan I have? And I have my own company. I help people all the time. I'm like, what do you need? You need advice? You need a job? You need to connect. You want to start your own company? What you need help with starting a company? Let me tell you what not to do, what I did, because I was on Google. Like there's so what companies I used to buy packaging from. And that is so fulfilling as well. And then I'm also living my dream and doing, like I said, I meet so many amazing people that these opportunities would have never happened if I stayed. I mean, I was in Cosmo, Harper's Bazaar. I've been in Compulsive for like 2 years in an ad. I mean, these opportunities would have never happened if I just stayed small, if I just stayed in my lane in the fashion industry. And so it's a blessing, but I think it's okay to be scared. You should be a little scared, but don't ever let that take over your life. Don't ever let that stop you. That's not an excuse to stop.
Exactly. Everything I was telling a person today was two things. One, I was talking to a person that's going to be on the show next week about I love doing this because you learn something new about someone else you never knew about. And the good thing about this one is 90% of the people that are on my show I've never met in person.
Love that.
And so I don't know nothing about you. I don't research you. I don't do anything. So this is a genuine, real conversation that we're having. And so he was like, I'm excited. I said, well, I'm excited. He like, why are you excited? You do this all the time. I said, but this is a different person. So I get to learn from someone else on every time I do a show. And then on top of that, it's I find out that we're more common than we're all different.
True.
Whatever it is. And it's like, wow, I get to meet someone else. I get to connect other people, my listeners, to this person to support that person. And if they're in a moment of testimonies and things of that nature, listen, some of the things that I find out when I look at a person, you be like, wait, what? Huh? You mean you didn't already have that already together? Wait a minute.
Most of the
And
time,
it so
no.
again, we're in this space where um I'm really proud of our people um wanting to do it for themselves. And of course with God's help and all the things, the hiccups, the bumping your heads, the sleepless nights, all of these things add up. So it's not about me. At the end, I'm doing this for somebody that's coming behind me, coming up the ranks. So guess what? This information that I learned through this journey that I've been through, listen, you don't have to cut the time in half. You don't have
Yeah.
to do all that no
Yeah.
more.
I
I
don't
did
want
it.
to I don't want to learn it and then it's with me. Now, oh, because I struggled, you need to struggle too. Like, I don't really think that's the way it's supposed to go. Like, even for me, I was telling my sister, I was like, I love nepotism. And she was like, what? And I was like, when my nephew gets to a certain age, I want him to come on board Avala and be an intern. Why does he have to interview and struggle and like try to figure out how to network and make connections when I've already done all of that for him so he can have a better life than what I had? Because I had to struggle to meet people and to get out of my head. And I want him to intern for Avala. What this month you're going to intern with the accounting department. You're going to go to marketing. So he has a better and a broader view of what is offered. When I was growing up, it was like, you're going to be a teacher, a nurse, a doctor, and a lawyer. And I was like, I don't like any of that. Yeah, I got so much scrutiny from my family, even going into the fashion industry, because they were like, fashion? Is that a job? Like, yes, it is. So it's and that moment, it groomed me for what I do now. But if I had options earlier in life, or if I thought more things were possible for me, I probably could have gone further faster. But I don't really think that was God's plan for me. I think God knows that I don't mind teaching and I don't mind putting my hand back and pulling you forward. So he was like, no, you got to go the slow route so you can make mistakes and then you actually have something to teach. Because if I gave it to you perfectly lined up, you're sitting there like, everybody can do it. And I'm like, are you really ready to go through the nights of no sleep? But yeah,
Especially as creators, I say this often. Yeah, we don't sleep.
oh,
While I'm sleeping, so I thought I was sleeping. My brain is still thinking about the next conversation I'm gonna have. The do's and don't. Okay, what did I learn from this last one? Did the camera do right? Did this happen? Did that? Like, can I just sleep? Can I pause for a minute?
And you're constantly processing information. Information is you should interview this person, you should interview that person, you should do this. Why don't you do a Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, this, that, and you're like, I'm not doing enough. It's like, Alex, why don't you, somebody told me yesterday, like, why don't you do deodorant? And I'm like, you said deodorant today. Somebody yesterday said toothpaste. Do I look like I know how to make toothpaste to you? Like, I'm like, these are all things that are currently is just me working here. I make everything, I sell everything, I update my own website, I do my own social media. And I'm like, the last thing I need is one more, learn how to make toothpaste, all natural toothpaste. And I don't even use it. Like, I refuse to make stuff that I don't use. I'm like, I don't use it. If I could find a good one, maybe, I guess. But yeah, it's constantly processing. You don't sleep. But the one thing I will say is when Avala was in my home, because we had 2 floors, so I was making Avala in the basement. And then when I moved it into its own studio space, now when I'm at home, I can sleep because I don't have a choice. Because
Yes.
there's no getting
There's
up at 3
nothing
in the
there.
morning.
Yes.
Yeah, there's no getting up at 3 in the morning and I'm gonna make more candles. I'm gonna do this. It's like the first maybe 2 or 3 months when I moved it out my house, I would wake up like, get in a car, get in a cab, like go over to the studio. And I'm like, no, sleep. And now I sleep like a bit. I stay at the studio later hours, but I sleep like a baby when I'm home. And then it makes me come up with a better schedule as opposed to like jumping out of bed and like go work. Now it's like, okay, well, we're just gonna go to sleep then, and carving out that time.
Yeah, which is, important, which is the balanced life. With um those who are dating, married, children, having a moment for yourself, things that you intentionally on purpose do, so that you're not burning yourself out. Um, we know that this product is going to be here tomorrow, and Rome was not built overnight.
Yeah, you have time.
So, again, this is the moments that I get a kick out of because we all learn differently, we all move differently, we all learn differently, and from the moment I had people, it was so funny. I'm gonna have to tell the secret. But when I put your picture out there into cyberspace, I got some inboxes like, "Who is this sexy? Who is this? Are you sure she's yes? She has all natural, as you can see." And they were they were like, "Wow, she's beautiful."
Oh, thank you.
So not only again is this as I say um a family thing now because I do check on my people. From the first guest I've had to now, I check on my guests. If I have a feeling something is not right or whatever the case may be, I'm sending a text, I'm sending an email, I'm finding you some way, somehow to make sure that everything is good. So I just wanted to, in our last little moments that we have, to encourage you to make sure you're sleeping, make sure you're living, make sure you're laughing, make sure you're loving on your loved ones because time is not promised. Um, Again, keep up the good work. I'm definitely going to be supporting because again, my sinuses is ridiculous, and I need some help. So again, let the people know how to get in touch with you, how to support you, and we're gonna be out of here.
Definitely. So Avala has their own website. It's www.avala.com. So it's AVALAH. And then on social media, it's Avala Beauty. We pretty much have everything. So like Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat. I would stick with the Instagram and Facebook. That's what I usually focus on a lot. But yeah, and then there are a couple stores in Brooklyn. It's on the website, so you can always find us somewhere. And then we ship. So we ship from the website, and hopefully you'll be seeing me soon somewhere out there. I'm putting it out there for it to grow in the atmosphere across all the states. But and we're trying to get into Miami, 2 stores out there right now, and we're also in Baltimore at Urban Reads Bookstore. So we're growing slowly but surely.
Absolutely. Again, if you're looking for skincare, hair care, beard care, soy wax, candles, all these great products, whatever you can think of, please support her. This is one of our sisters. We want her to grow in every area possible. So again, that's avalah.com, correct?
Correct.
Support her, look her up on all Instagram, Facebook is her company name, and beauty together as one word. And support her, and do what you can to make sure that she is continuing to be successful in this world out here. And I'm so excited to have this conversation again.
Definitely.
Ladies, gentlemen, remember, I believe in 6 degrees of separation. You are one person away, one advice away, one help away from where you need to be in your destiny. And again, thank you for being our guest tonight.
No
And
problem.
we
Thank you for
are
having me.
out.
All right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I'll send you the link later.
Definitely. Bye.
All right. Bye bye.